Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Culture with Zach and Zach. Our guest is joining us shortly because I emailed the wrong link to the wrong show. It's just too many shows. We got a lot of shows going, but we're really happy and really excited to talk to the one and the only Colby Fair, who will be joining us, I think, very, very shortly. Let's see what's going on. Facebook actually hit an error message, a weird error message. So I'm going to see if hopefully, I think it's now working on Facebook. It bounced back after I did the intro. Facebook was trying to say the intro was like copyrighted music and was blocking it on Monday, but the intro is paid for and owned. So I don't see what's going on with the Facebook. Kobe, welcome. He is sleeved and bougie.
What's going on?
We are happy to have you. How are you, my friend?
I am blessed and highly favored.
I apologize. It's been a crazy day, a million sent emails, but we got it worked out to have you here with us. And it is indeed a pleasure. We have a lot to talk about, and we're going to definitely pick your brain and utilize your expertise because, again, it is not every day that we are going to have someone on who is sleeved and bougie, the one and the only. Now, Kobe, I know that you are, you do a lot of different things. In addition to being a content creator and a social media personality, you're also very active and very involved in the financial world. It is currently all the talk of the town about a looming financial recession. Kobe, as a financial expert, what are your thoughts on all this recession talk?
I wouldn't say I'm a financial expert, but in regards to, we've been in a recession. I think oftentimes we rely on the news or the media, unfortunately, to predict our mindset on what we need to do. And usually the news cycle is about a month or two behind. So I would say I'm not an expert. So I'm not giving any advice, but I believe that we've been in a recession for a couple of months now, and it's just catching up to us. But I think we've got through it before. We'll get through it again. So you want to be very in this time cautious of how you spend your money and what you put your money in. So,
Zach, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Because I think, I agree with you 100%. I do agree, Kobe, that that the economy is recessing, period. And it's not necessarily, you don't have to call it a recession to realize that the American economy is receding for a number of reasons. A big part of that being, of course, inflation, but also in the fact that the economy is trying to reset and heal itself from the prolonged trauma of COVID-19. And in some ways, artificial talk of a recession or artificial efforts to do anything will only cause the problem to be worse and extend out the recession. Because again, the economy can very well heal itself if we allow it to heal itself. Gas prices are going to go down when people start buying gas. Right. Food prices are going to go down. People start buying food. So when people start not being able to afford these things, then by the simple law of supply and demand, we're going to get some economic relief.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you notice, gas prices are always high in the summertime because that's when people take the most road trips. So I think in regards to the gas prices, I think we're going to see those. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
I think we're going to see, other than the tax, Biden, tax relief regarding the gas. I don't think we're going to see any relief in that area in a while. I'm sorry, Zach.
No, I agree. Yeah. What were you going to say, Zach?
No.
And yeah, hey, Eric. I mean, you only know Kobe. I'm here too, Eric.
But yes, I definitely
Eric looks so distinguished down there.
Because he's a man about fire, but we'll leave that alone.
He just took away all of it. He just ruined my whole comment, Eric.
But no, I agree with definitely both of you all. But I definitely think we are in a recession. But I think our government is trying to keep us out and not saying it. Like, for instance, Biden is looking at the gas tax and releasing something around that. But then also, I just saw recent media talked about they are getting rid of 200,000 more individual student loan debt. which is excellent. And I hope my number and name is on that list. Come on. Um, but I definitely agree. But I don't think people are going to stop buying food. And I think also it has to do with a shortage too, Zach. And I think that causes inflations too. So we have to understand it as well. So
Absolutely.
No, it's absolutely a part of the fact that there is a shortage, and it's being exacerbated by a number of factors, including the hostage takeover or hostile takeover of Ukraine. But again, those things are going to slowly right themselves in time if we allow the market to do what it's meant to do. Because this is an economic recession unlike any that we've ever experienced, because it's not being caused by a lack of money in the economy. It's being caused by an overabundance of money in the economy that's in the wrong places. The people who need the money are not able, they don't have it. So stimulus checks went out, and there are a number of conservatives out there who are saying, well, it was those stimulus checks that caused a recession. Inaccurate and not true. It is the COVID-19 relief bill that caused a large part of it, but it's the fact that money was given to corporations and businesses and housing entities that never shut down. They should have shut down. They should have protected the American people. They should have used that money to pay the wages of the workers who were working from home or who were not coming in to work, but they didn't do that because they never shut down. So they just held on to that money. So they got a whole lot more money. And now they're kind of boosting that money out to those who are the haves, while the have-nots are the ones who are truly struggling. And it's very sad. And I think a little bit, unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I agree. But also kind of keeping into this culture conversation, what I really want to kind of talk to Kobe about is definitely your name. And I hope you feel more comfortable to talk about it. I know you have been on this fitness journey, and definitely an inspiration to me. When I first started, I was like, oh, shit, okay. So I would love for you to tell our viewers and guests where your name comes from, and talk a little bit about this fitness journey that you've been on.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you all for having me. Sleeved comes from, I had a gastric bypass actually in 2019, December 2019, the 23rd was my Christmas gift to myself. But I got gastric bypass, was over 400 pounds, always been the big guy all my life, struggled with weight up and down. I started as a child because I equated food with love. I was raised by my grandmother, born and raised, and she was a hard nut. So she never verbally said "I love you." Her "I love you" was with food. So I equated love with food. So whether I celebrated, whether I was sad, whether I was melancholy, I used food as the representation of the physical love or the physical feeling I was feeling. So if I didn't have food, I didn't feel love. So I became addicted to food. So that caused different things in my life, but I made a decision that I have to get my life back because I want to be married. I want to have kids one day, and I know I wouldn't, as big as I wasn't going to be able to be around maybe at 40 or 45, and then nevertheless be able to run behind some kids or what have you. But I made the decision to have the weight. So the sleeve came from that part. I know I had gastric bypass. There's also a sleeve surgery you can get. The sleeve name fit better, so I chose sleeve. And the bougie is, I've always been accused of it. So I just decided to lean into it. And it just speaks to glamorizing or celebrating my success, because a lot of times, especially in the Black community, especially Black men, we shy away from gastric bypass or weight loss surgery because we want to be He-Man. We want to do it ourselves, and a lot of times, and that goes to everything, we are afraid to ask for help. And oftentimes it's too late when we do ask for help. And I just wanted it to be known that you can be successful, you can be still a man, you can still be, who you are, and still ask for help and still live your authentic life. So I wanted to celebrate it, and that's why I got the name.
I thought you were sleeved and bougie because you had got a tattoo sleeve. I had
Oh
no
no.
It is a very clever use, and it does sound better than bougie gastric. That just doesn't work. I agree with you. It doesn't work. What has been the biggest change, that you've experienced? One, within yourself, and then two, in how people perceive you since losing the weight.
Definitely the confidence is the biggest. I think you never. I always knew this person was on the inside of me, and I think sometimes we just become frustrated in the process of becoming, and a lot of times we give up before we realize or the manifestation happens. And I thank God that I did not give up because I knew this person was always on the inside. So it was the confidence that shows up the most for me. And I think that also exudes to other people, and what attracts other people is the confidence. So I think that's it.
Okay. No, and so like for individuals who say that, this was an easy way out, what do you say to those kind of people? And like for me, I'm contemplating having something done, some little nip tuck and little suck here. What do you say, or how do you talk people? And what was ultimately your decision for doing it?
At first, in regards to my decision in doing it, I was in Tampa, Florida, and I was at a conference, Pastors and Leaders Conference, actually. That's a whole nother part of my life. But
you said what kind of conference?
A Pastors and Leaders Conference in Tampa, Florida.
I swear, when I hear you talk, I was like, "Is this Donnie?" Is this Donnie?
I get that all the time. Donnie McClurkin, I'm just out. But
look at Zach's face.
God be the glory. But so what made me have the decision is I was walking. It was hot. I was almost the youngest person in the group, and I almost had to get a wheelchair just to walk a couple of blocks away. I was sweating profusely. Back was in crazy pain. In that moment, I was embarrassed. Sweating out my clothes, just all kind of things. At that moment, I knew, and I would think I was 32 at the time, and I just knew this wasn't the life. This wasn't the life. So at that moment, I made a decision. I have to make a change. But in regards to it being the easy way out, it is definitely not the easy way out. I have literally limited what I can eat for the rest of my life. Literally, they've cut my stomach. Our stomach is the size of a football, but they changed it to the size of a soccer ball. So literally, I have limited what I can eat for the rest of my life. You are constantly still having to do the work because I've been in the gym since March of 2020, nonstop. Even when the gyms were closed, I was still gymming, at home outside. So you have to still do the work. It's just basically what I call it, a tool. It's not a fix-all. Even any kind of surgery, even cosmetic surgery, it's never a fix-all. There's always a mental aspect, a lot of aspects behind the main event that happens. But it's definitely not the easy way out. So you do have to put in the work afterwards, and I think that's what a lot of people do. They get comfortable in just that, and they just don't. They just stop doing the work, and they get back to where they were at the beginning.
Colby, when is your birthday?
I'm an Aquarius, February 2nd.
Okay, Aquarius is like the nicer version of a Scorpio. We're all fixed signs. They are like you. Every sign, there are 4 in a group. Yes. And they're different versions of the same journey, ultimately. And so, if somebody were to ask me that, I wish I could have had gastric bypass, or somebody could have asked me that question, because I would have given a totally different answer.
What would your answer have been?
Ask me the question. It has to be natural. Wait, let me get in character.
Scene.
What is the question?
Zach, so why did you get gastric bypass?
Because I wanted to. It's just that simple. It's none of your concern and none of your business as to why I've done anything and why I've chosen any way whatsoever. There are a number of ways that you need to choose for you in your life. You need to do that. And I'm going to tell you right here, let me tell you something right now. As a Black man living in America, there are a number of things in my life that will always be hard. And if I can have an easier way, according to you, to do anything in this life, I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm going to go ahead and take it. That's why I want my gastric bypass. That's why I want my student loan forgiveness. And that's why I want my reparations. That's why. And not only do I want it, I deserve it.
In that order.
But Zach, as a person who's big on health and wellness and fitness, and we've seen you on a number of Weight Watchers commercials and stuff, like, people want to ask that, and especially within our community, we don't talk a lot about that, and we know that this is one of the biggest killers within our community.
Absolutely. And that was one of the major reasons why I was vocal. A lot of people didn't understand at the beginning why I was so vocal about it, and they said, "Why are you telling your business?" Because when I was searching for somebody to look to that had gastric bypass that was a Black man, I couldn't find it. There was nobody out there. There was no YouTube videos. There was no Instagram. There was hardly any of it until, so I was like, well, why wouldn't I just say, because my plan was, and also it's accountability. I've put myself out there. So now I'm accountable to somebody. I now have people who are watching me and saying, okay, so he's saying he's going to be this, he's going to do this, he's put himself out there. So it's a level of accountability. And also I can inspire somebody, and it has added a level of destiny and a level of purpose to my life. So I think it's a win-win when we are transparent. It comes with the good and the bad, because everybody will be in, not all your business, but most of your business. But it is a sense of accountability, and I don't regret it at all.
And Zach, you bring up a really good point, right? Because I mean, everything you're saying is very accurate, very true. And so, my weight loss journey was a different route. But at the same time, I think one thing that's very important, you said it when you talked about it, Kobe, is that, some people wait too late. Right. You're waiting too late till damage is irreversible. You're waiting too late until you put your body through irreparable harm and damage from the impact of poor health. And so if something like gastric bypass surgery is going to avoid your body going through the dangers of prolonged hypertension and prolong the impact of being diabetic and a number of other health issues that come from being overweight, then it's or even just the simple mental issues that people may deal with. Now, I will say my story is probably a little more unique and different in that, nobody ever had to tell me to praise myself, because I'm a very confident person. I was born that way. So it's a part of me. Like, literally, I had an interview last night, a podcast with some children, some young teenagers in New York who interviewed me on their educational podcast. And I was saying one of the greatest gifts that my mother gave me, because she recognized early that I was uniquely gifted academic in my brain, very intelligent. She knew that I was gifted. And she made sure to constantly downplay the value of my giftedness. Like, most parents are going to praise you for your grades and academic accomplishments. That never happened. Like, never happened. There was no parties for grades. There was no rewards for grades. There was none of that in my life, because she did not want me to think that I was better than other people just because I'm smart, because everybody is equal. And that was so important for her to impart to me. And, I get it, especially when I talk to children who haven't had those same experiences. But again, for me, the confidence was natural. At my biggest weight of 240 pounds, there was no lack of confidence in my body or in my ability to get whoever I wanted to get, to date whoever I wanted to date, to shoot whatever shot I wanted to shoot. Like, that just is naturally who I am. And I'm like, anyone who rejected that, if that shot didn't make the basket, I'll laugh to myself, because you're missing out on all the great things that I can provide in your life. So I never struggled with any image issues. But I chose to start losing weight because of health reasons, that I was hypertensive and pre-diabetic. And I was like, I'm not someone who can take pills every day. That's just not how I'm made. So I started my journey that way, and then, became very, I'm just someone who, like, when I set goals, I achieve the goals. So it gave me something to work towards. And then, it was a long, hard process. It took a long time. And I think it's important to talk about for the culture. It's a lifelong issue for
Right.
everyone out there. Like it's not an easy way out. There is no quick fix. Regardless
Absolutely.
of if you get gastric bypass or if you get a sleeve, you still have to maintain a very strict diet. Personally, I think
Absolutely.
the diet is too restrictive. I couldn't do it because I could not have that type of a restrictive diet my entire life. Then, even with Weight Watchers, for a lot of people, that's too restrictive. They can't even handle that level of restriction. But again, I think you got to recognize that it is a lifelong struggle, and it's just your struggle. Some people are going to have addictions to alcohol. Some people are going to have addictions to pornography. Some people are going to have addictions to cocaine and crack. Whitney Houston, different people. Here's the thing:
Not
everyone's
nippy.
going to have their issue, and you've got to work through it. And for me, I mean, I'm not saying that Kobe. I don't know how, your relationship to food, but I know personally for me, I'm a food addict. Like I love food. I eat. And for a lot of different reasons, I'm going to choose to eat. And that's why I have to constantly monitor it for the rest of my life. And for me, Weight Watchers is a monitoring system that I use that works.
Got you. Yeah, I agree with you in that respect. I think I was I could get who I wanted when I was bigger, not necessarily who I wanted, but I didn't have any problems. But it was, I will say, but I wanted, I mean, I'm just going to be 100. The weight did cause a high blood pressure.
You got people watching.
the high blood, it caused high blood pressure. I was on pills. I was, if you could have it, I had it. But I wanted to be snatched. I did. I wanted to be snatched, and that was my motivation. And I think sometimes people are not honest with that. And I think when you become honest with that, you can be well in your mind that I wanted to be snatched. And I don't think I was with a therapist because I had to go through therapy during this process all 2020 because I made a lot of life decisions behind me losing weight and gaining certain confidence. And it was just a rocky year. But she said something. She said, there is nothing unhealthy with you just wanting to lose weight to look good. Because the end result was you became healthy. You created healthy habits. You created healthy boundaries, and you got what you wanted. And I think sometimes we shame people in the vain goals that we have, but oftentimes vain goals mean that I have to have a certain level of discipline in what matters so that I can accomplish the vain goal. I wanted to be snatched, which means I had to establish exercising habits. I had to eat right. I had to get mental help with my therapist about my food disorder. So that vain desire created healthy habits. So I think sometimes we got to lean in to those vain desires because in order to accomplish them, they create those healthy habits and disciplines. So that's just my take on it.
No, this is a great conversation. Definitely helping me as a person who has struggled with weight loss and mentally with confidence too. And this is me being transparent on here. But I think it's something that having diabetes run in my family and now diagnosed as type 2 diabetes as well as pre-hypertension. And so like these are things that I think I need more help with because it's not that I am one who is food addict. It's that portion control is one of the pieces because I can eat once a day, but I'm eating a lot that once a day. And then, or me getting my ass up off the couch and wanting to go and work out. It's a struggle sometimes for me. And I would rather turn on the TV and binge watch a TV show. And so definitely hearing these stories and seeing like Zach, my friend, weight loss journey, us going on walks together was encouraging. And so, like I said, it's struggle up and down, but I definitely appreciate you being more transparent because there are people who've had the sleeve or had gastric bypass. And to be honest, it didn't work. It didn't take.
Yeah, well, it did take.
It did take.
But the mental didn't work. And Kobe talked about the mental journey that he went through. And that, again, it's all divinely ordered by God, regardless of the things that you maybe encountered that took you to therapy. It was a divinely ordered process because you needed the therapy to be a part of your walk as you've lost the weight. Because a lot of people get the surgery and they don't have the process of understanding your lifestyle must change, and it's a whole entire process. One of the benefits of WW is that you're going to meetings and you're talking to people who've been doing this for 30 years and for their whole lives. They've been on Weight Watchers, and they can tell you what helped them succeed, why they stuck to it, what happens when you don't stick to it, how to get back on track, and help you go through that mental journey. So it was way more detailed than just downloading an app and putting your food into it for me. Because again, I chose to go to the meetings because I needed the community to help hold me accountable, for my choices. But yeah, I've been thinking the whole time, I have to admit, I've never wanted to be snatched. It's just not.
I do.
It's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing wrong with that, I think, ever. But I'm just thinking. Then I'm thinking to myself, like, maybe why not? I don't know. I've often thought about, on a personal level, why I devalue my appearance so much, and I just think it's just not a part of my journey. Like, that's just not the part of my journey that I think, and it's just not something I've ever valued. So with that being said, audience out there watching, you guys also fire out your questions in this portion of the show, the Culture Conversations with Kobe. Kobe, one question I have while we see if we have any questions to the audience. If not, we'll transition to the next segment of the livecast, is what's the deciding factor someone should make when deciding if they're going to go for, a gastric bypass? What do they need to really consider deeply before doing it?
They need to consider the mental aspect of it, because literally, even if you don't change, those around you will, because you becoming a different person to them. Because again, our society, as you said, that was not a thought for you, but our society is driven by image. Even from a little child, it's image, and when your image change, it also changes those around you, how they look at you. You could be the same person and thinking, well, who you think you are, because you will get more attention. So I think you have to take the mental aspect of it. You also have to weigh your options in regards to if this is what you really want. Weight loss surgery is not for everybody because you cannot reverse it. And after I woke up from that table, I was like, Kobe, what in the world? What the hell did you just do? Because you realize you can't go back. Like, literally, I've changed. My stomach is more than half of my stomach is gone. So you have to make sure this is what you want and this is the route that you want to go. And also you have to make sure that you're willing to do the work. That's mentally, physically, emotionally. You're willing to do the work, because it is, if you do it right, it is a lot of work. It's taxing. And even though I've gotten my results and I'm not satisfied all the way, but I believe this mental thing is going to far past the physical, because I'm still going in rooms thinking I'm 400 pounds. People are looking at me at clubs or where I go, wherever we go, and my mind saying they're looking at you and they're making fun of you when they're looking at me because I look the way I look. So so I become, instead of becoming, flattery, I become defensive. And I become aggravated and angry, and people around me are like, what's wrong with him? And they don't realize the battle that's going on in my mind, because I don't believe I still am worthy of certain types of attention, and still can't believe, they're looking at me in that way. It still is a battle in your mind, because all my life I've been the bigger person. All my life, from childhood, been told I was a certain type of person, and ridding myself of that mindset, it's not easy. It is not easy. So you have to be ready to do the work.
That's a great point. I know we got to move on, Zach, but I kind of want to hear a little bit more about, because do you ever get in the mindset that you are like I'm satisfied. I am happy. I feel confident. I know there's still progress and there's still a journey. But do you ever get into the mindset of I'm not that 400-pound person anymore? I'm this 190, 200-pound person who's lost half of their weight. So I was
I
like,
haven't seen 100 since I was born. So, but it comes and goes. It's mostly no. I can be in the gym, lifting weights, looking at what I'm looking at, and feel fat. Because it's mental.
yeah.
Most of the time, I'm like, nigga, you did, or Negro, you did that. I'm sorry, my apologies. You did that, whatever. But there is a lot of times where you don't feel satisfied. You don't feel that you are at your best, that you've done enough. And I think that's it can be healthy and unhealthy at the same time. I think we all need to never feel 100% satisfied, because there will never be a need to grow and go further. But then you don't want to go on the other side of it, where you're just crazy and you're doing, too much, and you're ended up harming yourself.
Yeah.
But I think it comes and goes. It's a 50-50, honestly.
No, thank you for that. I think this definitely, thank you so much for sharing your journey. I think this is going to help someone. Hell, it's helping me, but I appreciate it as well. Zach, this week in the culture?
Yeah, it's time for This Week in the Culture. And we got three things to talk about. And we're going to start off with the Stacey Abrams here in Georgia. Stacey Abrams came out today and said that she wants to give the policemen in the state troopers, policemen, a raise. She wants to increase the amount of money that police officers make, and progressives are losing their effing minds. Progressives are losing it. And so it's all over Twitter. Like, they are going bananas. They're attacking her. They're doing to Stacey what they did to Keisha. Black people like you, Zach Thomas, are literally saying that they are not going to come out and vote for Stacey, when just last week they were holding this woman up as the queen and savior of America. But now, because she wants to give police officers a raise, she has become persona non grata, and they are not vote. They are not. Black people are not going to vote for Stacey. But just the ones on Twitter, So I just want to know, what do you guys think about this? Both of you, I guess, being in DC, very progressive, defund the police places. I want to know what your thoughts are. Kind of wish we had our guest from last week when this news broke. Basically,
it was Preston.
Preston. Oh, okay.
Preston,
Preston.
Preston.
I love Preston. Preston would definitely kill it.
Be pissed off, right? Because we took it there. It was a little heated, for a moment. But I would love to see what he would now say about Stacey. Now that Stacey seems to be mirroring what Zachary was saying last week. So I do want to know, what do you guys think about this? And also, for my audience, what do you think about Stacey Abrams saying police officers in America are underpaid and they should definitely be getting a raise? And if she's elected governor of Georgia, she's going to make sure they get that.
Well, I'm definitely not Preston, and I probably won't do this justice like he would. Because listen, I just experienced Preston not too long ago, and I love his passion. He listen, he does it. But this is my take. I follow politics a little bit. I wouldn't say I am an expert at it. I think Stacey, I'm a little disappointed because it doesn't fit her profile. And I think she's doing this maybe to
But what do you mean it doesn't fit her profile? Let's take a moment and dig it. Let's dig into it. She gives me very pro-Black. She gives me very Black Lives Matter. She gives me very much defund the police. So I think her, especially this close to. Think about this. This is just something to think about. No, listen, seriously. Everything you said is right, but why are we grouping these things in like they're all one big thing?
I think what's disappointing from the individuals who say they're not going to vote for her, which I think is crazy. You definitely need to vote for her. I think the disappointing thing is, I think it doesn't seem as genuine. I think it's more so a ploy to reach the other side to get more people on the other side to vote for her. And I think because Stacey represented blackness, she represented unapologetically black, and you can win being black. You can do things being black, and for her to say that, it kind of stings a little bit because it makes us feel like it's a little disgenuine. And also, I think it's a bit crazy for her to do that because I get what she was saying, but why not say that? Why not do that? And I think it goes to the whole thing where who was it in? Was it in Michigan? The mayor said that she's going to give something to nothing but black people, and she got backlash for it. I don't know who it was, but my thing is, there's certain things that you don't need to say. Just do it. When you become it, just do it. Like,
well, yeah, you did a great job, Kobe, of representing Preston. It sounded just like it. Let me
I hope so, bro, Preston.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a phenomenal thinker and a major contributor to our society in the work that he does. But here's the thing. Stacey Abrams has never come out and said that she was in any way a supporter of defunding the police.
Right.
In the same way that I never come out and said I'm a supporter of defunding the police. I'm a firm believer in law enforcement reform. I'm a firm believer in social justice activism and ensuring that the American systems of tyranny and oppression are torn down and that new systems are created. But policing in America serves a major component of our society. And we have seen that when police have left our communities, we have seen an increase in crime and violent crime at that being committed by members of various communities. Here is the thing that I think is great about what Stacey Abrams is doing is that she's asserting her own beliefs without fear of what her community is going to say. And if this one action is going to alienate her from her community after all that she's done for the community, then she does not deserve to support the community.
But now is not the time to do that, Democrats.
Yes,
now is not the time to do that. You're taking you're gambling. We cannot do that in this.
You guys don't realize people across the country. I see so many people on TikTok and social media. You think you know Stacey Abrams and you think you know the people of Georgia, and you don't. I'm not going to ever sit from my seat in Georgia and tell you about your mayor and about your civic structures and about what the people in that city really like, because I don't know enough people in this city.
But you will, though.
No, I won't. You've never heard me say one thing about your mayor. You've never heard me say one thing about the people elected that you guys elect, or even how you elect, because I don't understand y'all. But the thing about Atlanta, and I'm serious. People think that they really do believe that there are enough black people in Georgia to elect Stacey Abrams as governor. And I want you to know that is not the case. If every black person in the state of Georgia chose to not vote, it still could result in her winning this election. The black vote was overemphasized in terms of the numbers and the power of it during this last election. It is true that when 60% of the black vote turns out, we typically can have a Democratic president in place. But that's nationwide. The state of Georgia has 30% of our population being black, 30%. Catering and saying, I'm going to do what makes black people happy every time they want me to do something to make them happy is actual political suicide, in my opinion. I believe that Stacey Abrams is doing what every Democrat needs to do, and that is do what you believe is right for the people in the position that you serve. That is, to me, the right thing. There are black people who serve every single day and give their lives in law enforcement. They are pillars of their communities. They are wives, they are fathers, they are brothers, they are children, they are our friends, and they are
and so are teachers. So why wasn't the comment about teachers?
Saying that she's already said that she's going to actually increase the Georgia starting teacher salary to $50,000 for every teacher starting salary and make the state average 75. Now,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's definitely, I agree partially with what you're saying, and as well as with Kobe saying. I think definitely we need to take some risks. But not thinking that all Black people are your base is true. But there are also some white Democrats and Asian as well as Latinx who have the same mentality and the same beliefs as Black people. So you still can disregard your base. But also, I do think, like someone just said, public service people are paid under. Like, I just saw that in DC that Mayor Bowser, she implemented a $2,000 sign-on bonus for police officers. But she also, as starting salary is $60,150. That is not enough to even live in DC. That's not enough, but yet you're risking your life. So I understand the whole defund, but I also understand people need to live, and so we need to get paid.
Right here in Uvalde, I'm angry. I am angry that those police officers didn't go in that school and try to save those kids. But then on the flip side of it, you're telling me that my $40,000 a year commitment is worthy of my life being lost? Now, I believe it is because you made a commitment to service. You chose to serve in this way. Nobody made you become a Uvalde police officer. But I also understand the flip end of it is saying that, yeah, I'm not going to go in there because he has an assault rifle and I know firsthand what's going to happen to me if I break down that door. I wouldn't have done it. I would have risked my life. I would have lost my life for those kids. But I also say, how can we sit here and say that police officers should not make a livable wage when we expect them to sacrifice and lose their lives on a regular basis? There was this man, and I read it on the route, who was drowning. And the two police officers who was like, we're not able to save him. We're not going to jump in the water. They lost their jobs. Now, that's also on the flip end. I wouldn't have done that. I'm a police officer. I'm not a lifeguard. I can't swim. So I'm most certainly not going to jump in that water and try to save you, big hoss, because you in there, you got in there, and you about to go on down. But I'm going to live to save another life another day. I'm just saying, I think it's way more nuanced. And when you talk about the base, Zach Thomas, I cannot emphasize enough that the Democratic Party's base is not progressives. To me, and this is something that Chris and I argued about, I believe that progressives, if you poll all Democrats in America, represent less than 10% of the party. I am no progressive. I have an absolute, I firmly want the progressive future to come. I would love to see police being abolished and being recreated in a way that is equitable for all people. But I also don't live in a dream future. I know that's not going to happen in my lifetime or in my children's lifetime or in my grandchildren. It's going to take time to bring America with you. You don't have rapid change overnight. To me, that is a dream of a child, to believe that things can change with the sweeping of a wand. America is a very rooted, ingrained, dig in your heels nation. And every action has an opposite reaction. Black Lives Matter brought a lot of progress to our country. We saw Confederate monuments come down. We saw flags get changed. We saw real progress around racial equity and anti-racist work. But here's the opposite reaction of that is CRT. The opposite reaction of that is the January 6th insurrection. Good things happen, but also so did bad things as well. That's why change can't be rapid. That's why it has to happen incrementally and happen over time, or so I believe, and that's why I am a liberal and not a progressive.
I think also for me, I can't speak for those in Atlanta. I know for me, the issue is not that she's giving them a raise. I'm all for everyone deserves their hire. My issue is, why did you have to say it? I think it's such a hot topic right now. I think you should have maybe doubled down with the teacher thing and brought that back up. But in regards to the police, in regards to being directly understanding what they're doing to your community, not all of them, but I think it's not necessarily it's why she's saying it, now, because I don't think anybody is upset that anybody's getting what they're worth. I think the issue is, why did she make that comment now?
She had to, because this, again, like you said earlier, you kind of agree with me that the progressives make only like less than 10% of the party. She's losing the base. That's what I'm saying. She's losing the base. There are a few moderates in Georgia, There are also a few independents in Georgia, but there are also a few Republicans who are on the fence. You need to bring them over because polls show Stacey Abrams she's going to lose. Stacey Abrams is down by 6 points in Georgia. We see that in Florida, Ron DeSantis and Charles Crist are now tied because of the crazy things that Ron DeSantis has said and done. In Georgia, Brian Kemp has never gone the Ron DeSantis, Greg Abbott route. He stood up and fought against Donald Trump when it came down to certifying these votes. That earned him a lot of fans among these moderates and independents in Georgia. And so if Stacey hadn't have said it, she certainly wouldn't have had much of a chance to turn these polls around as we approach November. I believe that her saying that she is for giving civil servants a livable wage that is comparable to the work they do is going to help her raise and go up in that poll.
True.
I don't think we can cater to Black progressives.
And I don't think she should. And at the end of the day, I think we have to always understand these are politicians, even Obama. Yeah. These are politicians first. First and foremost, they're politicians. So I'm not knocking the strategy. Again, I have nothing to do with political science. I don't know it. But it does seem a bit disingenuous based on her platform. But again, if it's going to get the sister a job, listen, I'm all for it. And I don't live there. So, hey.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna get her a job. I don't want to. I can't lie. I think it's gonna help her a little, but I think Stacey has a whole lot more to come out with. She has a whole lot more on the platform needs to get rolled out to turn the tide in this state. Yeah. She's got a huge uphill battle in a state where there aren't a whole lot of swing to be done, and the fact that polls out now show such a large gap, whereas in Florida and Texas the polls are closing, it worries me. Zach, what are you going to say?
Well, I have no hope for Florida. So,
well, Charlie Crist is tied with Ron DeSantis right now.
I have no hope for Florida.
I don't either. I'm not going to lie. I do. But you never know.
You never know.
Surprises may lie in store.
Yeah.
The political pundits are saying they believe that the January 6th, which was the next point on this conversation, before we conclude, was that they believe that the January 6th commission is actually having an impact on those voters and that they're realizing that no matter what happens, we can't have a Trump as president again, nor someone who is Trump-like. And Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott are seen as too Trump-like, and because of that, they are coming across and sliding them.
Trump was not the issue. I think Trump was only a representation of what the issue was. Trump was his party. I mean, I get it. I don't want Trump back in office. But the issue was not necessarily because Trump is not intelligent enough to do what he did. He was just a puppet on strings. It's the party behind him. It's the Mitches and I call them the demons behind him. So even if we have some other guy there, and if he, allows himself to be a pawn, just like Trump was, it's going to be the same thing. So whether Trump's getting in office or not, it's the system behind the Republican Party. Yeah, that's the cancer.
I agree. Well, we hit time. We hit the time. So
yes.
We are concluding. Kobe, it has been an honor and a pleasure to meet you. Your fitness journey is inspiring for all of us. It is a continuous walk and continuous journey. And I'm thankful that we had the chance to engage.
Yes, I'm so mad you closing on that and didn't close on that last topic of that Beyonce.
We don't have it. I got to roll right to the next show.
I know you do.
Oh, man.
We'll save it for Monday.
That.
Of course.
Okay.
But tune in to the next show right here, the same 3+1, where we're going to have a TikTok creator called The Real Boring Housewife. And she's actually not boring at all. And she is going to be a really good talk with Bravo, some things happening. And of course, we are definitely going to talk about how Beyonce came and broke souls, as well as the negative reaction to Beyonce by a number of Black female creators on TikTok. There's a whole movement on TikTok to attack Beyonce, saying, wait a minute, she's telling you people to quit your jobs when she doesn't even know your struggle. And so they're very angry at Beyonce. Now, I'm not playing those games with them. I'm treating them like I treat those progressives, and they get smacked. Like this one poor lady, she sat here and she laid out a whole case about how Beyonce is bamboozling people. And I said in her comments, I'm so thankful to be bamboozled. I took my little bamboozled money. I bought me 2 boxes. I wish I would have bought 4 boxes. And I have a whole bank account just for her concert. And I will go to the concert even if it means I'm missing a mortgage payment. I'm going to be there. Am I stupid? Maybe to you. But what I'm going to be is stupid and happy. So, with that being said, guys,
Kobe,
thank you for having me.